Hello there. Welcome to another episode of RealmIQ Sessions, where we talk about everything AI. And here with us today is Andreas Adamec, longtime
Oh,
designer, UX expert, proud to call him my friend, and also a RealmIQ mentor. Andreas, welcome and elaborate on your career history.
thank you very much. Hey, Curt. Hello, everyone. Yes, I am an UX in user experience design. Have been doing it since 2008. Started it at Warner Brothers. Um, Put a team together there. Worked for startups. Worked for healthcare. In my last gig, I actually worked together with Curt at a company called Digital Age. And yeah, it's I think it's very important within, when you design experiences for people to have an understanding of different industries, right? To get a point of view where you understand, see connections, right? Um, yeah, and I guess jumping right into AI, right?
Well,
Um,
yeah, I mean it's so new, right? And you've handled these technology waves, certainly how uh, a program like and a platform like Figma has changed your life as a UX designer. And then over the last 10 months, literally since November 29 of last year, ChatGPT entered into the fray. AI has been around a while, but it's amazing how it's just taken off and really affected every software platform out there. Google just announced Bard is now integrated into all of their software offerings, which is just incredible. So this notion of generative AI is something that people will interact with every day, whether you're creative or not. And you can see it already.
exactly.
It's like, can I write a post for you? Can I write your PowerPoint? So how did you intersect with AI when it first came out, and what did you start with? Because everyone has to start somewhere. Where was it easy for you to start, and what did you learn, and what are you excited about?
Well, first thing, as being a little bit seasoned within the industry, right? You It's a little bit easier to look through certain patterns and understand, yes, this is not going anywhere, right? I'm either part of it as soon as possible so I can help others with it, um, or I'm actually going to get left behind. It doesn't mean that I'm going to get replaced by a
By a
machine.
robot? By a robot? I haven't seen any
Or
robots lately, but yeah.
Um, I hear all the time people saying, "Oh God, I thought Skynet was never supposed to be built, right? But we built it anyway." But I do still remember when computers came out, and I remember the big uproar in the graphic design community when people were saying, "No, I don't want I don't want my computer to draw it. I want to draw it with my own hands," right? And so AI really is just another tool, right? And it has the word intelligence in it. And does it deserve it or not? I guess that's a whole nother conversation. Um, However, it's not going to go anywhere. And back to your question, I started actually so many with ChatGPT
Yeah.
and realized
I gotta
that,
I gotta correct you when you say it's not gonna go anywhere. What you mean is it's
oh,
not going away.
right. Yeah. And that's again, ESL, English as a second language.
That's okay. You're forgiven. Just
I'm
wanted to clarify for our listeners.
from Austria, by the way. Uh, Beautiful little place. You may have heard of it. It's a beautiful place to retire at. Um, that's why I left.
That's where Arnold's from too.
Oh yeah, of course, yeah. Um, Yeah, so I started with ChatGPT and realized very quickly, and also, there is a lot of very helpful people within, especially within the LinkedIn community, uh, that also jumped on it really early and are helping people with prompting right or well.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and so, yeah, ChatGPT became my little assistant. And I realized that there is just a lot of things where I spent hours and hours on preparing things. It can just do it for me. It's running errands for me, right?
Mm-hmm.
Uh, for example, or even just simple stuff as suggesting the best educational action plan uh, for someone with my specific background by me feeding in my resume, um, finding out what is the best action plan for me to get into AI, what to use, or even what classes to take. And so it's one thing that one needs to know, obviously, about Chat GPT and all of the AI programs. It's not exact. And yes, it absolutely needs experts, right? Uh, so if you just imagine you have an assistant um, that is not even specializing in something, but you tell something, they come back with something and you cannot verify it, right? You need to verify it. And so yes, AI is not exact, and your assistant, your human assistant, will not be exact either. That's why you have to look at it and have to double check on things, right?
Yeah,
But
it's garbage in, garbage out. So
yeah,
what are you asking it to do? And then how are you checking it once you get something back? I also want
leadership will always be necessary. Management supervision will always be necessary.
you
That's
need
why there
you
are
need
managers.
you need to be a conductor in the middle of it. Uh,
Yeah.
I want to go back to something you said about expertise. So there's a lot of criticism on how many AI experts there are out there in the world right now, but and everyone claims to be one. But I think everyone's using the term wrong because the fact is you are a UX expert, a graphic design expert. You've been doing it for decades, and then you've learned how to use AI in your profession. So if you say that you're an AI expert, you're really saying my expertise is in UX and graphic design, and I'm using AI as a tool. It's new, it's exciting, but your expertise is really your whole career. And that's a thing that commonly gets lost because of this notion of or a misnomer of what is an AI expert. But the fact is, everyone's bringing their expertise to this new party called generative AI, and leveraging what they can to enhance their expertise that they already have. So I just want to make that clear because I respect your expertise and years and decades of it. We've worked together, you do fantastic work. And so now if AI helps enhance your productivity, your time management, I think that's all fantastic, right?
Absolutely. And the thing is, it's I would say these so-called AI experts right now, they deserve the title, right? Because they're actually willing to take this on, and they're not afraid to deal with this new thing. They are not the ones that saying, "Oh my gosh, this is gonna replace me." They're actually looking to see what's in there, right? So yes, they are or may be experts within their own field, and then they are reaching a an early expertise level in this new field that's going to be changing, of course, right? And it's going to be evolving, and yeah, using that title to help others to get on board as well, right? And so I think one thing that really is necessary with all of this is for for humans to evolve a little bit faster, right? Because
It's going to help us evolve, right? I mean,
it puts us in the
during the Renaissance, science enabled man to circumnavigate the globe. I mean, without that insight that you're in control of your own destiny as a species, science did that for us. And so here we are at this precipice of technology, hopefully enabling us to like conquer things that we didn't have time to do before. But now the technology is affording us the time and efficiency and productivity level to help us get to the next level, whatever problem needs to be solved. I think hopefully it can unlock other parts of our brains to think about some of the world problems in a different way, and try to tackle them versus being bogged down with the day-to-day drudgery of these tasks that are, you know, beyond our relegation. Now we need to rise above that and let, you know, AI do that, and we'll move on to other things, other problems to solve.
Exactly. And so that's what I actually meant with us needing to evolve faster, is because this is actually helping us to be the bigger people. This is actually really putting us in the driver's seat, right? And yes, when it comes to, let's just say, my field, right, UX, um, it adds to the stack of skills and software and devices, right? It's not replacing everything. Like, for example, Chat GPT, for example, or Mid-Journey, right? Or I actually do now write my Mid-Journey prompts. I let Chat GPT write it for me.
Right.
Friend of mine who is much more deeper into it, and fascinating conversations with him all the time, and he sent me this immense long prompt that he had to send it to me in 7 different text messages because it was so long, where the end of the prompt is to Chat GPT, if you can do this, if you understand this and you can execute this, just answer with yes. And I did the same thing, and it actually did yes. And then the next thing was, I actually told him what I needed in Midjourney. I said, okay, I need to have this little house next to a forest and in this kind of style. And I was actually using human language. And I do remember when we had our session, right? And you actually were the one that was telling me, yeah, you have learned from looking at other people's prompts and from your own experience, you actually add this to it, right? You add the
chaos factor, the aspect
right.
ratio, and how the variance factor, all these things which are very code based, right?
And ChatGPT actually puts it in for you as you actually in human language describe it, right? But so now this comes back to the experts, right? So there is, of course, the profession prompt engineering, right? And those guys obviously are learning to write the prompts the proper way, right? They actually learn by actually learning machine learning and natural language processing and basic engineering stuff like Python, for example, right? To actually feed the machine to understand how the machine needs to be talked to, right? Which then addresses, for us creative people, there will have to be interfaces designed. There will have to be.
Yeah, right. So it's interesting discussion around interfaces. We're talking about prompting and even voice prompting because there's a big movement towards conversational discovery, right? And so that's just me talking about that little cabin in the woods on an Austrian lake. Um, so yeah, if it moves towards that, then really the interface is in the results more so than the interface of how do you enter stuff. Because if you're entering it with your voice, which I think is the future, I think everything's going to go voice. And so then it is, what is the result? Are you asking for an Excel spreadsheet or an image or some other form of display of content or a table that you've asked for? And so that interoperability between different formats, whether it's Excel, an image, JPEG, a movie, right? I think I don't know that there's necessarily one platform does it all.
And where your input is actually not just, if it's not just voice, if it's not just text, right? If it's actually files you have to put in, right?
Right. Yeah. Just don't put your business plan in there, or the company that you work for, their business plan, or their Q4 goals, or revenue information. Yeah, people are stupid by putting in too much stuff, so you want to be careful.
Because you're training it with
Speaking
information.
about that, there's this whole ethics thing, right? So copyright, infringement. Uh, when you're working, are you thinking about that? Are you thinking about morals and ethics and legalities when you're entering? I mean, you're not trying to do anything nefarious. You're just trying to be creative and get some results based on your task list, right?
That's actually one thing, whereas what I also meant with evolving as humans, right? I believe that we should walk through life like that anyway, right? We should always do the right thing. We should never think like, oh, nobody's looking, right?
Right.
And so, but yeah, so that the ethics part of it, which is, by the way, already evolving into its own profession, right? All these professions that
Really
actually come.
illegal. A lot of AI lawyers now
Yeah,
specialize.
and there are actually there are classes. Several schools actually teach AI ethics, and so there's a lot of different topics that you can pick, and so you can actually be the official AI expert. And
Mm.
there's already a lot out there. Um, Udemy, Coursera, Harvard.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they're offering all their own courses for sure. Some of them are expensive, 10 grand a pop, but
If you get the certificate, right? If you actually
get
want
a
this.
certificate. Yeah. There's,
Otherwise, they're actually pretty reasonable, but with the certificate, they are getting more
if you want to
expensive.
get a certificate, I think there's influencers out there that are teaching us without having to go through that. But like
No, but the thing is
Connor
that
Grennan, and there's a number of guys and women, Lisa Palmer. So, I think there is an effort to educate as quickly as possible. I think that's certainly the opportunity with RealmIQ, is that we have a group of mentors here wanting to and needing to, and are educating companies in how to navigate this, what is I call AI change management. How do you manage change for the future? Because it's so disruptive. People are getting laid off, or there's new hires happening with people who have AI experience, right? So you aren't going to be replaced by a robot. You're going to be replaced by someone who has delved in, jumped in, and kind of learned how AI can help their profession, whatever it may be. Being a lawyer, being a real estate agent, being a UX designer, being a brander, a marketer, or a content creator. The uses are just ubiquitous, and that's another reason why it's not going away. It's here. The genie's out of the bottle. So it's really, what are you doing with it personally? What can you do with it for your company? How can you be an AI evangelist within your company if your boss, your CEO, your CTO, your head of HR isn't really up on this stuff, and it's like, oh, that's just all malarkey. How do you educate? How do you become an advocate to say, no, we need to do this. We need to learn this as a company because our competition is right. The competing company, their direct competition, is going to be using it, and they're just going to be irrelevant at some point. So I think
I
that's
think
the
it's
opportunity.
sorry, interrupted. I think it needs strong leaders, period, right? In general, and only the ones that are actually willing to have the hard conversations, to actually have the uncomfortable conversations, are going to be the ones that actually make it happen, right? Just like with everything, right? But yeah, in UX, it's definitely a thing that all of the old gurus, everyone is saying, guys, you got to get into this. You got to do this, right? And there is, oh God, there's many applications. And there is also, you got everything, right? You got the people that hate it already. You got the people that are afraid. You got the people, even not even talking about AI, just let's pick up the, God, the UX has changed so much. We have been in the forefront and we have been fighting for it. I'm not quite sure if I like it where it's turning right now, because it actually is giving the power back to the CEO, just making you the scribe again. But it needs leadership within the community. There needs to be strong juniors coming back. They need strong leadership. But when it comes to AI, it's we need to actually help our fellow UX folks getting into this. So it needs to have that. We need to actually get to that expert level really fast. And how better than doing it, right? Like, for example, with
do it and show it and share it. And I think part of that requirement to deliver on the promise of being an AI expert is, are you doing demos? Are you sharing them? Can you articulate exactly what you're doing? And it's new for everybody. So I think there's a lot of forgiveness in terms of performance on how people do their demos. It's like, just do a demo. I mean, does it have to be so professionally produced that it feels like I went to a post-production house to finish it? I don't think so. I think people are looking for authenticity, and again, putting the human at the center of, I'm orchestrating all this, I'm going to different platforms and coming up with the result that I wanted, but I'm in the center of it. I'm the designer, I'm the illustrator, I'm the creative that's driving this thing that I wanted to create. And I think showing that is the best way to combat the end of the world prophecies of the doomsday scenario. So and that human element, that authenticity of, hey, I'm playing with the software, just I could give a Photoshop demo, but now I'm using it with AI and Mid-Journey, and I'm combining all those things. So for me, it's just navigating different platforms and having a result, starting with, hey, I want to do this. I want to do something and create something, and I'm going to use these platforms.
Exactly. And, within the field of UX, there's already so many opinions. Like, for example, some people don't like personas, right? Where personas are a really tricky field, because you can definitely do them wrong and you can do them sloppy, and you cannot validate, or you cannot what's the word? They have to evolve, right? They cannot, it's not a final product. But now when people say, oh, they do personas with AI, of course, those same people go like, oh my God, personas are already bad. Now you want to use it with AI, it needs to be data-based. And yes, trust me, I'm a UX stickler for sure. And I want to do personas right. And I do believe that AI can be helpful with personas.
It gets you a head start, right? I mean, let's just say you had a presentation the next day and you didn't have time to do focus groups or a getaway with the executive team to figure out the personas, but you had to have some type of plan. You could do a lot of preliminary work in ChatGPT or Claude or Bard, whatever, and come up with a discussion guide at least. Like, here's 10 personas that I researched, and what do you think about these? Right? It's putting something on the table.
Right, and most people that are against personas do actually forget about ad hoc personas. That ad hoc personas are actually a thing, right? That they are actually not just there to create assumption-based personas and then just run with it, but actually to engage the people that have knowledge about users, that have fragmented knowledge about users, that have assumptions about users, and bring them together in a room or in a Zoom session and actually first take advantage of the knowledge that's already there at their fingertips, bring that together, and then actually figure out the strategy. It's who do we want to focus on? Who do we think our roles are? This is a very, very important recruiting tool. And now with AI, you can do that much faster. You immediately get that, you know, that typical impulse shopper, or that whatever, you know, those particular roles. You get immediately a quick straw man together, then get the team with their opinions on it and their assumptions, and then have a good ideas. Look, these are the roles. Are we actually focusing on these roles? Which roles are we not focusing on, right? So AI can definitely help cutting down the time, but no, of course,
Well, yeah,
personas.
I mean, you just mentioned, you know, kind of a whole flow on how you interact with team members using information that you may or may not have gotten through AI. But it's just part of a data set that you're then still discussing and approving. And, you know, it's a tool.
But you need to know what you're
the
doing.
end product. Yeah, I mean, but you have the knowledge going into
That's the thing.
asking ChatGPT because of your expertise, years of expertise, going in there and being able to filter bad results and say, yeah, no, that's completely wrong. Redo that one, right?
And if you have an employee that's doing that for you, you have to check their work too. You know, it's really not any different. I mean, look at with analyzing data, research data, right? I mean, I have done it myself. I have gone out into the field, driven, you know, through Pennsylvania, Delaware, going to all kind of doctor offices, studying these users like gorillas in the wild, right? And really, really getting to understand what is that one thing, where's that innovation opportunity there. But guess what? You come back to the office with tons of data. And
right.
I have been sitting through analyzing all of that myself.
Yeah.
And now with my knowledge about it, like if I'm, for example, when I hired my first researcher, I still had to check his work. You know, when he actually gave me the analyzed stuff. So same thing with AI, and it's doing stuff really quick. And yes, you have to verify it. Yeah, absolutely, right.
Yeah.
It's helpful. I mean, you know, automating design workflows, for example, gets you to concepts much faster.
Yeah.
Or simple stuff like replacing the lorem ipsums, the blind text, right? You have a beautiful prototype, right? That actually needs to be signed off by leadership, right?
Right.
But whoever looks at the prototype can't really get into it because there is no product information. There is no type.
Write the product descriptions, right? Here's the functionality. Write the product descriptions.
It doesn't have to be perfect, again, right? For a prototype, at least there is something there that something can comment on, right? That actually makes it more alive, that brings it more to life.
And you can determine the character length and all that, and it'll write it to that space, you know, versus you having to, you know, do the word count in Word to figure out spacing. So yeah, again, it's a tool. Andreas, we're entering our final minutes here. Is there anything you want to say in terms of final comments, final insights around AI? Certainly have appreciated the dialogue for sure.
Well, the final comment actually is we just started.
Yeah, we just started, which means we're going to do this again and have many conversations. And that's why we call these sessions, because I look forward to many sessions with you, my friends. So thank you so much. Thanks, everyone. You can now catch RealmIQ sessions on your favorite podcast channels, including Spotify, YouTube, Amazon Music, Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, and iHeart Podcasts. Or listen to the full sessions at curtdoty.co/RealmIQ. If your company is interested in reaching an audience of AI professionals and decision makers to promote your event or product, we do have sponsorship opportunities. If you enjoy these discussions on AI, please push that subscribe button below. I'll see you in the next video.
RealmIQ. Book your corporate AI workshop today.
Subscribe to our Media Slam newsletter and learn more about the intersection of design, content, and technology.
CurtDoty.co. Branding, marketing, and product development.